father. And then not only that, but like there's examples of, for example, Moses in the Bible had wives who were not Jewish, but his children are still considered like descendants of Israel still. So it's like I don't know how they concluded that thing about the mother. So
Well, the whole thing is that they're they've started their own oral tradition. So they've started their own oral thing, which they follow. They don't really follow the Bible or anything to do with that. They follow something called the Talmud. The Talmud is a written thing. These things came into tradition like right sometime around the time of the Romans, during the transition, during the removal of the the Jews. So there's a lot of Jewish um, men who have written books saying that this whole thing of this Jewish race has been created, um, and it's a lie. That they don't have any of their own traditions or anything like that because who was the guy who wrote that? Dang, I forget his name. Something oh man, what is it? What is his name? Ah, I forget his name, but he's a Jewish man. And he has some books written, and a whole bunch of stuff he has written in there that they're converts. They're converts from the Roman Empire, from the time of the Roman Empire, and the Jews have been uh, kicked out of their land or sold into a captivity. But during that time, there's a lot of conversions going on uh, from a certain kingdom off the steppes of Russia. Is where these people originate from. If you Ashkenazi Jews, if you look at Ashkenazi in the Bible, they're not even in the Bible. They're not Jews. In the Bible, they're Ashkenaz. They're Ashkenazis. They're not. They have nothing to do with being Jewish at all. So they're already written in the Bible as not Jewish. But you could have Ashkenazi Jews living in the land, calling themselves Jews, and that they're the Jews of the Bible. That's backwards. That's totally backwards. I think you can find that in Genesis chapter 10.
I don't understand how any like Jewish heritage would go back to Europe when it would have originated in the Middle East or Africa, no?
Well, it would originate from Europe if those are the people who are coming in as converts. So when you're converting and you're from another race, and those people who are there are being destroyed out of it, now you're proclaiming. Now you started as a convert, but now you're teaching your children that they are, uh, in fact, uh, Jews, and now your children are believing that they're Jews, and now they're calling themselves that, and as time goes on, they get the label as the Jews. That's that's how that works. But there's a lot of Jews out there who have. There's a lot of stuff written that they have written themselves that like something. This stuff doesn't make sense. So yeah, it's just Europeans who converted into being Jewish, and that's why they call themselves Jewish, because there's that suffix on the end of Jewish. It's really to be like the Jews. Uh, if you're acting childish, you're acting foolish, you're acting like a fool or XYZ. So the ish is on top of the Jew. That's why I do make a separation between Jewish and Jew.
Yep.
So and it is and as you just and it is described in the Bible, uh like these the Jews are actually people who look like Egyptians. They're always the two times in the Bible compared to being Egyptians. Acts chapter 13. They're called niggers, or the translation word for that in NLT, or it could be the NIV, is the black man. Uh, such as things like even in your Revelations, where it says that Jesus was his skin, the skin, his skin color, as if it had been burned in a furnace. Um, Past tense, burned. Hair like wool, like the pure wool. To look upon him, to look at this man, to look upon him. I think in Revelations chapter 4, the sardine and the sardine and the something stone, two stones, two black, two very brown stones, is the comparison of how it would be to look upon him. Uh, so I mean, when you get these things, when you're looking at these things like Paul, he was mistaken for Egyptian. They said, "Aren't you a damn Egyptian who led away all the Egyptians that we took captive?" So it's just a lot of things, biblical wise, that who these people were, what these people have been pushed out, and now. But I mean, I believe some of them are. I believe some of them are. I believe some of them are Jews. They don't. They wouldn't know that for sure. But yeah, there's Jews in every race, because every race has taken these people into slavery. Uh, so every race has some drops of these people, but these people are still, to this day, I believe, still you can still find them in the original form of what was written uh, in the text in the Bible.
So would it
So
be? Oh, sorry. Now go ahead.
go ahead. You're good. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, no, no. I want you to keep flowing. I can hold my thought. Go ahead.
Uh, but yeah, you can. Let me see. Even in even in the Bible, where it says that when Moses um killed the Egyptian who was beating one of his people, uh, the man said that an Egyptian saved him. So they thought Moses was an Egyptian. That writing's going back quite a long way. Uh, so certain things like that, it's always been compared. What if you go to King Solomon, he says, "I am black and lovely. Um, Look not upon me, for my skin is black, and the sun has looked upon me." They make references to the sun. When the sun hits them, they get blacker. I mean, it's just written over and over throughout the whole Bible. So yeah, these people, we know we people. There's nations who know who these people are. These people don't know who they are. That's really the biggest part. These people don't know who they are. But for a surety, those who have claimed their identity know who they are. I put it that way.
Yeah, and I think um to what you just said, you actually answered the question I was going to ask. So I'm glad I let you flow on, because I was going to say that could be people that are actually Jews but don't know that they are.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's well, that's been written like a million times over and over in the Bible, is that all nations are going to take their identity away um, because of their prominent stance with God, and the hate of the nations, that the hate that the nations have against them. So these things is written over and over, that they're supposed to be uh, erased from their history. So that would match, if you're talking biblically, that these people don't know who they are anymore. Um,
Hmm.
and that
know a
you know,
group of people that that may apply to. So,
yeah.
oh, there was something else that I wanted to say that you had said. The very last thing you said before you just answered that question. Oh, come back to me, please. Oh, that's what it was. So, is that why I noticed that, the Jews, like, if any little thing is said or any little whatever, they kind of, tremor and they lash. Do you believe? Because I mean, I'll say it. I do believe that's why, because that, like you said, I believe they do know.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you can understand. I mean, the Jew, there's Jewish men who will tell you to your face, yes, that they've went and they try to go by a bloodline testing. I don't know how they would even do that. Like I said, because they do something with the mother, but they're trying to say that the same bloodline that's in them is the same bloodline of some of the tribes that are in Africa, um, and uh, and they have documentaries on that. But that doesn't make any sense to me. How are you saying that these people are the Jews, but you won't let them into the land? Like they're saying that I don't know. It's kind of confusing. But yeah, they'll tell you. There's a lot of scholars who will tell you, yeah, those people are Jews, but at the same time, it's like, well, if they're the Jews, then why don't you let them into the land? Why don't you? Because it's not about if you're a Jew. Um, the number one thing about the Jew is that he cannot be black. It cannot and not be brown skin colored. So it's automatically working from a racist uh, view when you're talking about Jews. It's like they can't be black. It doesn't matter how many times it's written in the Bible. It does none of that stuff matters. They cannot be black. They can't be brown like that. They have to be uh, what do they say? Olive green, olive green. What damn people walking around looking damn green? Olives come in olives come in two damn colors, right? They come in green. Well, they come in three colors. They come in green, they come in black, or they come in very dark brown. Now, I ain't seen no green Jews walking around,
Me either.
but I've seen some brown and some black ass people walking around. So,
If you were to trace the lineage back far enough, they would all end up coming from the Middle East or Africa.
well, yeah, they would definitely be coming because originating out of the land of originally coming out of the land of Africa, uh, and then settling in Israel. So out of the land of Ur, which I believe is around Ethiopia, but Ethiopians are considered Hamitic. Uh, the Israelites are considered Shemitic. So Hamitic are those who derive from the children of Ham. So that would be like you would say anti-Shemitic. It would be you're being anti-Hamitic if you would make fun of people who are Hamitic, Egyptians, uh, what do you call it? Egyptians and other Hamitic tribes that are in Africa. But yeah, they stem from out of that root. They come from out of that land originally. So uh, yeah, I mean I don't know. That's just how that works. Also, biblically, they're supposed to be under the curses uh, that you always read about. is why they're always in slavery, uh, why they're always losing their land, uh, and all types of stuff. So they're supposed to be at the bottom of every nation. So, if you go into every nation, if you're looking for the lowest people in every nation, it's supposed to be the Jews because of the curse that is put on them, that no ownership, not owning businesses, they own nothing like that. They have to borrow from every nation, and also being taken as slaves uh, all across the world. So how they would get to that nation, you would have to see how they got to that nation. You have to see if they got there. Did they get there through a slave trade? Um, and all those things. So these are all the things that they would have to line up with biblically. Uh, and the same way as you look at the Sahara, you got the Sahara slave trade. You got the Silk Road slave trade. You got the slave trade, the Great Slave Trade, at times where China ruled the seas. Um, we went into slavery under the uh, Song Dynasty. We went into slavery under the was the Song Dynasty and another dynasty that we also went into slavery in China with. India, we went into slavery in India. All the islands of the seas. Yeah, so there's a lot of places we've went into slavery.
No, and I appreciate that, and good words, good words. Thank you so much for sharing. And Dula, welcome up to the stage. I don't know if you wanted to speak or not, but I did want to ask John because I know that you were saying that you grew up in a a large, I think you said an area with a lot of Jews. Um, kind of how was that? Because I know usually Jews usually have like their own. They usually kind of stay within their own like communities. Or are you? Or do you come from a Jewish family?
What would you respond
Dula,
to
go
me?
ahead and take the mic.
Okay, if you ever look at it and you Google, uh, Sister Sandra, have you ever heard of the Devil's Punch Bowl?
No, I have not.
Google it. Google it.
Okay, doing it right now.
Okay, you will see that our our bowl was the first Holocaust on this earth. We were done so bad and were put in concentration camp. Once it was amended, they put us in a spot and give us no food. We even ate our children. We had the worst Holocaust on this earth. When you Google the Devil's Punch Bowl and you study it and look it up, we had the worst Holocaust. We were even eating our children. We were cooking and eating our children, which was mentioned in the Bible. I don't even have to say no more. I gave you the Devil's Punch Bowl. You look it up, and it was way worse than the Caucasians.
What do you mean by we?
Holocaust.
Who are you referring to?
Well, I'll read it for you
Our
because it's
people.
not. Oh, go ahead, Dula.
No, I'm just saying our people. Not talking no bad about nobody else people. I have nothing bad to say about nobody else people. But we had the first and worst Holocaust of this earth. And it's called the Devil's Punch Bowl, to where we were done so super wrong. No other nation ever went through what we went through, especially dealing with the transatlantic slave trade, plus the Devil's Punch Bowl, plus when we were uh, called alligator bait, when they used to take our slave children and go use it as bait for the alligators to come out the water and shoot them just for their skin. So a lot of people do all this talking, but nobody care about what happened to us. You know what I'm saying? We was in the first and worst Holocaust of this earth. I don't know. I really just wanted to mention that. I really ain't got nothing to say, but look up the Devil's Punch Bowl. It was our people. Nobody's been done like we have been done. Do you know the name strange fruit? The name strange fruit comes from them hanging our 60-year-old, 70-year-old women with gray hair in dresses. And next to that woman hanging in the tree is a little 7, 8-year-old kid. Don't nobody give a damn about that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want us to care about what's going on over in Israel and Palestine. That's when these Arabs be asking me about that in here where I'm at in Detroit. And I tell them flat out, where was y'all when we were getting hung from trees and burned alive and ran over and drugged by cars and maimed? Do you know what they say? That's old. That made me cry. I hate that.
Can
And
I
You
add to
know,
your point? I'm sorry.
yes.
I just wanted to add to that, but like there's a lot of things going on in Africa right now, like in Congo and Sudan, where people are being mistreated, African people. And to me, like those people in Palestine, Israel would never advocate for those African nations ever, if it really came down to it.
And what's so tripped out is we're not African. I can show you. I could prove to you 100% we're not African.
brother, let me
So whatever happened to them African people, that's them. We're not African.
Who's we? What do you mean?
Us, Negro. We're not African. You
So
can
where did
even
you come
Google
from?
it. Well, okay, let me. I'm not sure how what this room is about, but let me give you an example.
Just say what they
Well,
are or we are. What are you saying?
man,
You're saying what we're
okay,
not.
you gotta
But what are we?
listen. Relax. When you look at the biblical story about Moses being raised up under the Pharaoh's daughter, that means we had to look so-called African. We look like them. We black with woolly hair, but we're not African.
I agree. That the
So
Egyptians
so
and
so
whatever
so
Moses'
what I'm saying,
complexion was is the same.
yeah, exactly. So what I'm saying is that we are still walking this earth. Them same people who was not so-called African, because being called African is stupid as hell. You know what I'm saying? But
But
uh,
I think we should
we
say, what are we though? What are
the
you implying?
Hamites. Well,
I don't
we
like the name Hamite.
so
you
so
don't
so
gotta like
African.
it. Listen, ham is ham. Anybody under ham is a Hamite. So whether you like it or not, that don't make no sense. Anyway, can I just finish this? Because I really just wanted to just say something, and
I
then
think
I'm
we're
gonna
more
mute
than
up.
Hamites.
How can you be more than a Hamite, man? Please explain. Help me with that.
We're Christian.
That's stupid. What is a Christian?
I mean,
A
What is
follower
a
of
Christian?
Jesus.
That's no. Christians came along with Constantine. That's stupid as hell.
They're converts. We know the real story.
Christianity
Whatever. I
originated
just
in
want,
East Africa, Ethiopia and Eritrea.
now
It's
now
but
one of the
that's
now
oldest
stupid.
religions.
Christian sounds
Ethiopians are
way better than
so-called.
Hamite.
hey
Ethiopians are so-called
Your people
African,
are from West Africa.
When you
but
say Africa,
that has
When you say
nothing to do with us, though.
Africa, you're referencing a landmass. That landmass, we do originate from that out of that landmass. You don't have to be Hamite to come out of that landmass. So we do originate out of that landmass. The
I
land
don't
that we
know if you.
have is on the land that we have is still on that damn landmass, because if you read, it says that I'll give you the land
But
from
so
the
what though?
say what?
Who care about the landmass though? Who care about the landmass? We talking about the people. I don't give a
Yeah,
damn if I was born in China. That don't make me Chinese. So that
no,
don't
I
make
know.
no sense.
Yeah, I know what you're saying in a sense of Africa, right? In a sense, I'm saying is a landmass. When we say we're from Africa, it's like right now, Israel, where Israel is located, right? Um, Israel, if you look biblically, it is from the Nile River. God says, "I'll give you the land from the Nile River and forth." So the Nile River is in Egypt. Egypt is in Africa. That's
Th-
that would
This
make Israel in Africa.
So
this is
let's read
what
this
I'm
since you
saying.
want to say you're Hamites from the Bible. Whenever the
Listen,
rainbow
listen,
appears in the
can
clouds, I will see it and remember my everlasting promise to every living animal on the earth. So God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the promise I am making to all life on earth. Noah's curse on Canaan, but blesses Shem and Japheth." Noah's sons who came out of the ship were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. There were the three sons. For them, the whole earth was populated. Ham was the father of Canaan. Canaan is cursed. He will be the lowest slave to his brothers. Praise the Lord, the God of Shem. Canaan will be his slave. May God expand the territory of Japheth. May he live in the tents of Shem. Canaan will be his slave. So,
so please,
well, you're
please help
saying
me
you're a
understand.
Hamite. So,
No,
Hamites,
no.
you have
Listen,
your own son.
I
Nigga, let me
never
talk,
ever
nigga.
said I'm a Hamite. I never said that. You lying on me. I never said I'm a Hamite ever in
I
life. I
smell
ain't never
fish.
one. I will never be a
I'm gonna
stinking
get you,
Hamite,
Armando.
man.
Hey,
Whatever.
Dula. Hey, check it out. You know what's crazy, Dula? Is that the Hamites will be servants to all their brothers, right? And they shall be the lowest. But remember, God said, if the Israelites don't keep the commandments, you're going to be lower than the Hamites. God dang.
Why he left? I was only playing.
He
This is
got that.
listening.
I said, oh my God, he poking at him right now.
He's claiming to
Armando
be
always
the.
messing with people.
He's claiming to
But he
be.
did have a point. He did have a point I wanted to touch at was his when he said that when he said that they said that it's old. This is amazing to me. I find this often among black people. Not among I don't find it among other races. I find it in the black race, so-called black race. Um, old. Oh, slavery was old. Oh, that happened back in 1960. That's old. Oh, that happened in 1970s. That's old. Uh, other races don't talk like that. When bad shit happens to them, they carry that shit and they bring that shit and they teach their children that shit and they say, "You see this shit that happened to us?" And they stand up, they make celebration days out of it. They if they win something, they conquer something, they make holidays out of it. They celebrate it. There's no you don't find oh that's old. They don't speak like that. We teach our kids, hey, that's old. That hatred that happened, that was in 1980. Do you know how old that's old? Forget that. And that we just love to use that shit. Oh, somebody look, we're at the point where Atlanta, all the cops from every state can run to Atlanta, kill every Negro, slaughter every Negro. 25 years, 35 years from now, there'll be a nigger going, hey, that was old. You know how old that was? That was 35 years ago. That shit is old. It's fucking 2040, baby. We ain't talk about that shit. That's
I mean,
black
we
people.
got the
That's
most
so
recent
true.
we got the most recent history out of everybody though. I mean, anybody that's trying to say this shit's old, I mean, it's only like one grandpa, two grandpas away. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Black people are so
You're right.
forgiving, man. Like, it pisses me off because something would happen, like George Floyd would happen, right? and then um people would get upset about it, and then time will pass, and then nobody will care, and then the same shit's gonna happen again, and it's
Yeah,
just a
it's
Oh,
like
that's
pattern.
because the leadership is focused on that political stuff. I mean, the fact that we got the same people, fighting over anytime a cop kills somebody, but anytime we have something bad in the neighborhood happens, like really bad, and we don't see the neighborhood handling business. You know how we have street judges. I mean, you got a problem because the cop killing somebody is bad, but the fact that little 3-year-old got shot up in her house and everybody knows who did it and nobody wants to do anything about it. I mean, you got the political side that's doing the propaganda shit and they're getting paid. Don't get me wrong, they're getting paid ever since like Simpson type shit. They're getting paid. Every time you see a black guy get affected by some kind of shooting, you see the same. I don't know. I forgot his name. The same bald head, dark skinned guy representing everybody in the news. He's like the civil rights NCAA activist lawyer. It's we ain't got what's the two OGs that we used to have. You got somebody help me. Who's the OG that used to be on all the news networks?
oh, is it
Um,
Jackson? Jesse Jackson?
no.
Al
After
Sharpton.
Al Sharpton was the
Oh,
OG, and now you got this new dark skinned bald brother that he is on the face of every kind of situation that happens with a brother getting shot that's not involving his own
But you
people.
guys don't stand on business ever when it comes to
Well,
this
I mean,
shit.
that's the point. Is like somebody is rallying people up, and like you said, somebody said it's for like a weekend. You get riled up for a weekend, and everybody go back to work on Monday. You don't hear nothing about it. Like the was the sister that got
Black
shot
Lives
with the
Matter.
report. Oh, I don't even want to talk about that. Um, but like the sister that got with the boiling water shit, and the cop that's been fired like 8 times, nobody's even talking about where he's at and what's going on. I mean, the fact that he's been passed down throughout different counties and he's still is a police guy. I mean, how does his police chief, the police chief that he came from, how does all these people not get held accountable for hiring somebody that should not been hireable? Like it to me, it's insane.
You know, we were in I was in a room just the other day, I think yesterday morning. I'm sorry about the way I sound, y'all. I had COVID. I'm getting over this joint, so my nose is kind of stuffed up and shit.
Oh,
But
you're fine.
I was explaining to the brothers in the room because the brothers were fighting me over and over, right? About every time I talked about what we went through, how we still suffer the how our DNA has been altered from slavery and how horrible it was. Every time I said this, the brothers were like, "Oh, whatever. Oh, whatever. Oh, this, that, and the third." And it got to the point where I was like, "Look, I'm not going to talk anymore about it because every time I say bring up anything that happened to us, y'all just like, oh, whatever. That's old." So I couldn't continue the conversation with them. But before I said that, I was letting them know that we don't speak white man language. The black man, he doesn't speak he doesn't speak the white man's language. You might speak English. They might speak English, but you don't speak his language. His language is on a whole nother fucking level. When the black man says, "I want to be equal with you," the black man wants to be equal with him. He wants to share. This is a black man's equal. I want to share with you. Um, I want to share with you, and I want to be with you. I want to be with you, and I want to share with you. Right? That's the black man's equality. But the white man's language and equality is right now in this nation, black people own only 2.5% of businesses in America. The white man says that's equal. If you ask a white person right now, are things equal? They say yes. So it's equal that you have 2%, 2.5% ownership in America. That's equality. because their their understanding of equality is not the same as your understanding of equality. But you'll find out very quickly if you change your language to how their language is, you'll figure out if they're your enemy or if they're your friend. When you get Negroes who stand up like Malcolm X and some of these other um, great men who have stood up and spoken out loud and wanted their own people to have their own shit and separate. You figure out who the enemy is quick because that's white man language. White man's language is not I want to share. He doesn't understand that. White man, when you walk march down the street with signs saying Black Lives Matter, uh, uh, something I can't breathe and all that stuff, he doesn't understand that shit. That's not in his language. He don't do that shit. That's not in his language. He has action, and his action is I'm taking your shit. I don't give a fuck who you are. I'm coming and I'm taking all of it. You got to remember, these are the people who pushed the Seminole Indians, the Indians out of America, damn near exterminated them, but pushed the Seminole Indians all the way into Florida, pushed them deep down into Florida to the parts where they were living in the swamps. Now we know you can't do nothing with a swamp. You can't build on a swamp. You can't do shit in a swamp. The Seminole Indians were eating wood off the tree. The white man was still fucking hunting them, trying to kill them, sending armies in to kill them. Now, because it ain't equal until we take it all. It's not equal till we take it all. I don't give a shit if you're eating wood off of a bark of a tree. I want all your shit. So when you speak to white people, you should say, "Yeah, I want equality." When you go and fill out a job application, I want you to look a black man in the face and ask him if you can have a job. When you go to get a bank loan, I want you to go to a black bank, where there's a black-owned bank, and I want you to go ask if you can get a fucking loan. And I want you to look black people in the face. That's the equality I want. I want it all. I don't want. I don't want to share. I want everything, and then find out if they're your friend. Find out what they're. You'll figure out. You have to learn how to speak their language. Black men speak weak language. We have a very weak language. It's slave language. Please, I want to share. I want to be with you.
Mm, that was word. That was word. Um, Uncle, what are your thoughts on this topic? Oh, he no, he didn't. Okay. So, hey, Mister um, Sonda, welcome to the stage. Did you have any thoughts? Or you just, you hanging and waiting to jump in, or
What what
did you
what
have any
what
thoughts on? Huh?
what time is it? That time? What time is it? That
You,
time?
I can barely hear you. I can barely hear you.
What time is it over there?
Well, I'm in California, so it's 10
What time
o'clock
is it in the
where I'm
US?
at.
No way. It's 10 o'clock where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
Mm, 7 a.m. where I'm at, man. I just woke up.
Oh, okay. Just getting your day started.
Yeah, it's already the 8th of September. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't
okay,
know. I
okay.
just came. Yeah, I saw your request. So the Holocaust. Who did the Steve? Was it Steve Mega Turtle?
That
So
would be me. I did that. That would be me. Um,
I thought it was Steve.
no.
I don't know, man. I don't think. I don't know. I think the Holocaust did exist. So stop being anti-Semitic. Um, I mean, what is a Semite? Let's even start there. But nobody wants to talk about that. But at the end of the day, the Holocaust was real. Yeah, I think it was real. Yeah.
Um, I just want to say, like, okay, I don't really understand why, like, saying somebody is anti-Semitic, it holds so much weight because, like, the Holocaust was like it was less than 10 years, and then you have slavery that was 400 years, right? So I don't know. Sorry, I don't really know what I'm saying. My bad. Never mind.
Well, slavery was from about like well, from what I understand, about 1619 till about um when they put the law in for it to be abolished, was like 1865 or somewhere there. Um, so yeah, definitely was longer than the Holocaust.
They still
Um,
had those people colonized in Africa up until what, even the '90s, like fucking what apartheid ended in South Africa, what, the '90s, right?
mhm.
So I mean, I really don't have much sympathy for what the Jews went through. Respectfully, I really don't. Simply because there's other people who've went through far more for far longer that don't get any of the extra sympathy tears. You guys will tell black people all day to get over slavery, get over these type of things, right? But then we're supposed to sit here and boo-hoo tears over the Jews. But we don't
That's
acknowledge the
exactly what I
fact
was
that
trying
King
to say.
Leopold of Belgium went over there and slaughtered like 20 million Congolese people. We don't acknowledge the fact that, people have millions upon millions of Africans that got displaced throughout the world even to this day. We don't acknowledge the fact that even to this day, you feel me, there's atrocities committed against those people. We don't acknowledge those things, but we're supposed to cry and feel bad about these fucking Jews who went through a handful of years of self-inflicted trauma. Like, you feel me? I just don't. I just can't find it in me to muscle up any fucking tears. And then how they came out of it on top of everything. They came out of it. They're rich. They're wealthy. They have control over things. They have control over government. They got their own fucking country out of it. I mean, they got so much stuff out of it. They're still getting paid left and right, buku dollars. This is like whatever they went through, they got paid 20 times, 40 times, 50 times, 100 times more for whatever their suffering was. So at that point, like, hey, they need to stop bitching about it. Get over it. Build a bridge and get the fuck over it. Like you tell all the black folks, racism doesn't exist. Okay, so hey, at that point, hey, your trauma no longer exists neither. I don't want to hear about it.
You know,
But
when they
but
passed
also
those,
remember, guys. I think people need to remember, and I've said this before. Uncle, you agree with me on this? World War II, all these reparations, I guess, quote unquote, Jews are getting, it has less to do with actually the Holocaust, but more to do with shame from Anglo Saxons on the fact that a small country like Germany could destroy Europe and decimate it into almost nothing. I mean, you guys do know that a lot of, like, all those French and English people, they ran to America, right? Like they ran, dog. Like he destroyed that place into nothing. That was so I think that was the
But
big
like, what's
shame
your
that
point?
happened
Because they
with World War
continue to
II.
destroy African countries
And
today, and nobody
no,
cares.
no, 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 no. I'm not denying them.
Not
My
even just
point is,
Africa. Like fuck. I mean, we took over Hawaii, displaced those native Hawaiians over there. No one seems to fucking cry about
And
that.
nobody gives a
I
fuck.
mean, I mean, we took over all of the Native Americans are damn near dead from Canada down to Argentina for the most part. Those people are shuffled off into obscurity, right? No one seems to give a shit about that. I mean, god damn it, we went to Australia, fucking destroyed all the Aborigines and their ancient cultures. No one seems to give a shit about that. I mean, we're not talking about the rape of Nanking. We're not talking about what the fact that we dropped bombs on Japan and slaughtered hundreds of thousands of people at once. We're not talking about any of the other atrocities that have been. I mean, we're not even talking about Bosnia. We're not talking about nothing else. But what yet you want us to shed tears constantly for this one group of people? I mean, I think that's pretty narcissistic of them to keep on wanting this from us.
Yeah,
Can
and you
I?
know what?
Can I?
I
Oh,
even
sorry.
oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, I definitely want you to speak. I just want to say, Uncle, I definitely agree with you, and that's part of the reason why I want to open this room because I was telling the room earlier. I don't know if you saw in the chat earlier the room we had, and the guy was like, "Oh, how's he saying the Holocaust doesn't exist as anti-Semitic?" And I told him, "Well, nope. He also said other things about slavery not existing. We didn't throw him down. We let people have an open mic about it." And I also was stating how we can talk about all type of groups, we can talk about all type of other things, but for some reason, the Holocaust is off limits. They can make movies, they can do all type of things, talk about slavery, and like you said, dismiss it. But when it comes to the Holocaust, it's being anti-Semitic. And the guy in the chat, he said, "You talking about the Holocaust being anti-Semitic," and that's what made me form my title, because I definitely feel it's something that should be addressed and something that should be talked about. Because why is it that we can talk about everybody else, everybody's religion, everybody's race, everybody's thing, but we cannot? Um, why we can? Why people can't form an opinion on whether they believe the Holocaust existed or not? But they can
I
have an
feel
opinion
like
Exactly.
on whether
I
argument
do believe that it did
today,
exist.
I feel like
Hey, read what Hans just said in the chat right there, right? That's one of the
sorry.
biggest
Oh,
Oh,
mic
we're gonna come
drops
right to you,
that
sweetheart.
could ever. Hold on, Rookie Sandra. I just want to read what Hans said in the chat in case nobody else is reading the chat, right? And then it's on you, Professor Oksana, after that, right? The Nazi Holocaust has been researched now for nearly 7 years. The greatest scholar, a Jew, Raul Hilberg, has said less than 2 million Jews were killed, and most of them were Polish. That is the
yeah,
most believable shit I can think of, simply because most of the Jews who are in power worldwide, including Netanyahu, are Polish. George Soros, Polish. They're all
yeah.
Polish fuckers are somewhere in that region. You feel me? Somewhere in that same region. I don't believe the details of the Holocaust as given to us. I do not. But I do believe the Holocaust did exist.
So yeah, I saw it. So just touch on that real quick before I go to what I wanted to say before. So like I have a few Polish friends like from uni and just like from around the way, right? And like my second name is like pretty German, right? But I'm not obviously German, right? I guess just down the way and whatnot, whatever. I'm like Caribbean, but anyways, right? And sometimes like when I tell like my Polish friend, oh yeah, this is my name, they're like, oh, it's mostly the men. They'd be like, "Oh, maybe you're a German. Maybe." And I was like, "Why are you so offended? Like, what the hell? Like, are you Polish?" But like, when I did research, it's like, yeah, like the guy said in the chat, it's like, yeah, like a lot of, I think mostly like a lot of the Jews were in Poland, and a lot of them were hiding in Poland, and they had a lot of atrocities. But anyways, um, but I think I want to go to what someone said when it comes down to, of course, yes, the Holocaust existed. I don't know who says that it doesn't. That's pretty silly. But I think the problem that I have with the Holocaust is that, like, okay, cool, yes, it happened, but I think someone said less than 2 million. I think it was maybe I think 11 million, 14 million, or 14 million, or 11 million West Africans were taken from Africa to either the Caribbean islands, either to South America or to North America. And actually, most of them, no, most of them, sorry, that's a lie. I think at least maybe 3 or 4 million of them perish in the sea. Um, and okay, cool, that's that. So we don't really care about that. That's way more millions. And then even then, like, my problem when we talk about genocides and whatever is like, listen, free Palestine. I know they're going through some atrocities, but it's like, oh my gosh, like the second the world decides to care about people of color or people of a different ethnic race, it's not black people. They don't care that black people have been going through, especially on the continent, they've been going through a lot of atrocities, especially let's say in Congo, for for a very long time. They don't care. And I think that's my main issue when it comes to supporting other people's causes. It's like, okay, but do you support the causes in Africa? Like we've been going through this since colonization, literally for hundreds of years. Like people are still fighting the wars that were started by the white man, by the Europeans, who are now the Americans, I guess, right? And so the British and the Spanish and XYZ, but they don't care about these things, right? It's like we need to care about. Again, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just saying, like, hey, Yes, y'all went through some fuck shit, but y'all recovered. Y'all have clearly recovered. So why on earth do we still need to keep harking on about the Holocaust, the Holocaust, the Holocaust? Y'all recovered. You guys have recovered. The rest of the world who have gone through certain things, through certain genocides, are still yet to recover. So why don't we focus on them?
Also when these particular laws get passed for the Jewish people, they also find ways to keep getting paid from these things that that when the laws are set forth, they find ways of how to get paid annually from these things. So it's like it's crazy. Like wherever whatever head rears up and they find offensive, they find a way to turn it into money. So it's like you might think that they're just getting reparations for what happened to them back in the 40s. They're getting reparations, like they're getting paid for shit that's happening now, like words that are being spoke now. Like they're breaking motherfuckers' pockets left and right. They're checking everybody, every mouth that moves and everything. So they're getting their paper, man. They're getting good paper right now.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So, I just want to welcome everybody into the house. You're talking apes. If you haven't already, I do see some pink tickets. So you hit that little arrow next to talking apes, and you can hit join the house. We always have different discussions and debates, and everyone is open. I mean, free to express their opinions and perspectives. We don't shut down. We don't do any of that. As long as you don't disrespect anyone directly, your opinions and your views are welcome here. And feel free to say whatever it is you want to get off your chest. We're not going to shut you down. You don't have to walk on eggshells. You don't have to do any of that up in here. Um, so that's just how we roll. And with respect, if it does offend anybody, I would just ask you to leave quietly. But it's open forum. That's how we roll in this house. We let everybody speak their minds and their opinions, no matter what it is. So we just want to welcome you in. Everyone that's down in the audience, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to put it in the chat, and we'll bring it to the floor. Definitely want you to feel a part of the conversation. I'm glad you're here as well. I want to thank all the speakers on the stage. Thank you. I'll go ahead and pass the mic to whoever wants to speak next.
My name's Kevin, and I'm just here to say that black people should have been in slavery for 800 years.
Okay. Why do you feel that
Right.
way?
I'm glad he believes that. At least someone's fucking honest for once.
Yeah. Well, elaborate. Elaborate. Let us know what's on your mind.
That was
At
just
least
a little snippet. What wasn't the Gulf War an anti-Semitic campaign? Am I confused
Wait,
in saying
what's
that?
this obsession with? Hold on. I just think this whole conversation is really focused in a way that's just completely irrelevant. Like, if you look at, for instance, Genghis Khan and the Mongols, they killed Stu. You're in, or Uncle. You're in the Matrix. Is it just me, Uncle? You're in the Matrix.
He
I'm not
probably doesn't know.
talking. Oh, my bad. I'm
Oh,
not talking.
Oh, wait. Okay,
oh,
yeah.
there's
I
an
was just
echo coming
saying
off
that
your mic.
Oh, okay.
like, yeah. Do you guys realize that Genghis Khan or the Mongols killed 10% of the entire global population of the entire planet, and that they measured in like this century, like about a decade ago, they found that they could measure in the geological record of the entire Earth that they saw like less carbon sequestrate, so much less carbon during that time period. They could see it in the geological layer, and there are so many people killed that it's, I mean, especially considering like how few people there were in the 1400s and the 1200s 1300s, um how many people he killed is, it's just I mean, we're talking everyone, right? Babies, women, children, right? Like, not just the men. And, like, so when we talk about today about these various things, like, we can start nitpicking. What else do you want to nitpick, right? Like, the in El Salvador, because of CIA actions in 1980s, it led to the rape and murder of, like, five nuns, right? We can talk about, like, there. I mean, how many different things are we going to talk about? Like, but I'm not saying that, you know I believe, like, for instance, those George Soros and all those, screwballs, right? I think they're all bad news. But I just think that there's been a lot of popularity to talk about, like, this um uh Jewish. It's almost like the same framing of the same issue, right? The Jewish problem, right? Like, exactly the way the Nazis talked about it. And it's just, um it really is just not relevant, right? Because Israel's is not really, uh they're really not a key player in whatever's happening in the world. And I just think that it's what's really happening in the world is United States, China, um and technology,
You
right?
people really don't research anything, do you? How about you look up the most powerful institutions in America, then look up who sits on the board of most of them, look up who the CEOs of them are. Just keep it. Just spend a week just researching all of this, right?
I did. Oh, I
No,
did.
no, no, just
I looked.
researching it, and you're gonna see a
I
whole bunch of fucking Jews there.
no,
So
I
how are they
no,
not a
I
key
know,
player in anything?
because they're not Israel. Because I completely understand. If you look at the board of ABC networks, it's 98% Jew. I understand that. I understand that if you look at the board of almost every major media conglomerate, it's literally 98 to 99% Jewish. I totally get that. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's probably fucked up. Um, but I don't know, like, if that actually means anything, right? For instance,
I mean,
there's a
you
period of
can't see
time.
that. See, I'm tired of people being able to see shit with their own eyes and still deny what's in front of them. It's ridiculous.
Okay, okay. Well, in that case, then let me give you a little statistic. Um, During the 90s, Korea became very obsessed with golfing. Okay, and I bring this up because there's a whole generation of children being encouraged to practice golf. And what happened was that during the 2000s and 2010s, women's LPGA became completely infiltrated by women, Korean, South Korean, and Korean women golfers. And now, if you didn't know about the history, you would have been like, wow, there's some kind of weird thing, right, going on, right? But the reality was, well, that's just how, that's what happened, right? Um, and so, historically, if you look at, like, what the Jews have done, um, they have always been, keen to control, um, especially since World War II, uh, to especially to control the narrative, to making sure that they would be the ones in charge of, um, doing whatever they could to make sure the narrative protected them. Is that crazy, or is that just rationality? I mean, to me, I think that's rationality. I'm not saying I'm supporting it, but I think, like, if if I were Jewish and I knew this, like, all these people around the world hated us, then I would have been like, oh, well, we need to control, media, and they have done that. So I don't know, like, what do you want me
Instead
to
of
do about it?
instead of changing the attitude that made you get kicked out of how many different countries before you ended up in Germany and the US, instead of changing the root of the problem, the way that you adapt to different cultures, don't change that. Change the places that you're going into. Instead of, don't solve the problem at the root. Put a band-aid on a gunshot wound. That's more effective. Yeah.
Well, I mean, are they
That's
being
what
bad
David's saying.
citizens? I
Let
mean,
me
are
ask
they
you a few
being?
questions, David.
But
Right?
can I
No,
just say
no,
that?
hold on, Oksana, give me a second, right? David, let me ask you a question, right? Okay. Um, this is just my own curious question. Do you believe in evolution?
Yeah, I believe in evolution. I believe that evolution can produce like different types of species of
Okay.
dogs, and
All right. So you
my
trust the science. You believe in
I'm
the science
Korean, and
wholeheartedly,
my wife
correct?
is Chinese, and our baby is half Korean, half Chinese.
Okay, cool. So you believe in the science. You believe in science wholeheartedly, correct?
Well, I don't know what that means, but sure. I mean, I believe that the evolution can produce all these variations,
Okay, that's it. Go ahead, Oksana.
but I don't believe it can produce.
So,
I don't believe it's the origin of life. I
was
believe
that
God authored life.
No, I
was that
understand that. But
So,
thank you for your answer, David.
the reason why a lot of the Jews got kicked out of a lot of places is because of the religious practices, right? So I think I learned this at uni on my research because I did a module. It was Islamic accounting. So learn a bit about that, and learn a bit like how did accounting and blah 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 blah. Right, cool. And from what I understand, it's like uh, at some point it was kind of like uh, I might use the wrong word here, but it was like sinful, or it was just kind of like immoral to like charge interest on like loans. And I think the same thing kind of applies for Islam as well, right? That's kind of how kind of like came about the understanding this, right? So with Christianity and also Islam, and I guess Christianity and Catholicism, same difference, right? And it was kind of like uh, not commonplace to charge interest when you make like you give someone a loan or you do this, you do that, right? Whereas and the Jews were like, yeah, fuck that shit. I'm charge interest. If I'm going to give you my money, I wanna, and I'm gonna be out of pocket for however long. I want some interest on that. I want maybe 10% or whatever, 5%, whatever the hell it was, right? Cool. And of course, like that obviously enabled them to become a lot richer than a lot more people, right? A lot more, let's say at the time, a lot more of the Christians. That's why they like the that's why they like the Jews, right? I don't know if this is a rumor or like this is actually true. Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Hitler's family became bankrupt or they lost everything to like a Jewish bank, right? Because they owed money, they owed interest, they owed this, they owed that.
The Jews destabilized Germany in less than 8 years. And
Yeah,
they did that to
exactly,
multiple
right. So
countries. It wasn't their
yeah,
religious
yeah.
practices, it was pure greed that
No,
got
no,
them
no, no,
exiled
no,
from
wait,
many
wait,
different countries.
no, no. I did not say that it was their religious practice. I said that every all the other religious practices they said it was immoral to charge interest. It was immoral for them to profit off other people's let's say neediness to or
That's
need.
immoral according to the Bible as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And not to, and you may have misspoke,
yeah.
but that was the first thing that you had said
So
when you came off mic. You said they were here because of their religious practices. So maybe you just had misspoke, but that was actually the very first thing that you had said.
yeah, right, yeah. So I think that's why they ended up obviously being able to as I think it was Stu. He said that they was able to destabilize Germany. I think someone else said they got kicked out of everywhere else, right? Mainly because they were just able to just kind of like monopolize on everywhere they went, right? And it's mainly because everywhere they went, where they went, the religious practice there was, hey, no, don't charge interest, da 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 da. But they're like, yeah, fuck that shit. That's not our religion. We're gonna charge interest. We're gonna make money, and we're gonna control this shit. And I was like, yo, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, this is immoral. Like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, but
And
it's not even their religion. That nowhere in their religion does it say to do that. So that has nothing to
no,
do
wait,
with
wait, 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 no,
religion.
no, no, wait,
That's
wait,
just
wait, no, no,
pure
wait.
greed. That's what I was
No,
saying.
no, 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 wait. Listen, but it doesn't say that they can't do that. That's the thing. Whereas in other religions, it says that you can't do that. It's not can't, but like that's immoral, right? You get my point, right? So it doesn't say that you can't like that charging interest is a bad thing, like you can't do that or you should do it, right? It doesn't say that you can or can't, right? So they were obviously just doing what they were doing. It's not against God or for God. It's just like they were just doing what they were doing, right? Whereas other religions such as this Christianity or Islam, especially when you think about what's called Sharia law, think back to like my
Thou shalt not kill, but Christians kill.
okay, whatever. Anyways, the fuck.
Well, scripturally, it actually says, "Do not do these things," because it says, "Love thy neighbor." What they did is they went around that, and they corralled themselves in the neighborhoods where they didn't charge each other interest. They charge everyone outside of their community's interest because they don't charge interest to themselves. So that's the problem, is they don't treat the places where they came into as a true neighbor, and that goes against biblical practices, their own religions, you know.
But no, that makes sense because generally speaking, right? Like, love thy neighbor would be like, so for example, let's say someone else in this room and they're British as well, like they're from England, right? They could be white, they could be Pakistani, they could be Korean, but hey, but you're British. I'm black, you're white. I'm black, you're Korean. Hey, but we're both British, right? So by automatic, like you're my neighbor, so I'm gonna treat you nicer. But hey, you guys are American, so I'm gonna da da da, right? So like technically speaking, it's like who's thy neighbor? Like is like is that literal, as in like who lives next door to you, or is thy neighbor meaning like your people, like your tribe, whoever you are?
It's really not that complicated, though. I think you're
Mm, I,
Sorry,
overcomplicating
let
it.
me answer that. Let me just answer that,
wait,
Professor. Your neighbor is the
guys,
people around you.
but
It's
but
just the
but
people
Yeah.
guys,
around you.
but guys, stick with me here though, because okay, yes, I know it's not that complicated.
But
However,
like they said, you're
this,
overcomplicating a non-complex issue.
Yeah, and
yeah,
what it is,
Because
you're trying
even
to
in
justify the
Islam,
Trying
fact
to
that
yes,
if
justify what
someone's,
they're
Islam,
doing
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, that's what it is. If
yes,
someone is
yes.
down and
Thank
yeah,
hurting and
you.
they're
And we
Let me
see
asking you
through
for
your
something,
bullshit.
yeah,
but in
if someone is
Islam it
down and they're
says,
having to ask you
"Wash
for
the last
something,
of your
no,
hand."
you don't need to ask them for more than what they're asking of you. That is beyond wrong. There's no justification for that. Now they have tried to justify that, and like I said, those practices have gotten them kicked out of a handful of nations because they're not treating their neighbors as their equal. They're not treating the people that are around them as you don't kick someone when they're down. And that's what interest is. Someone is coming to you for money and you're charging them more than what they're borrowing. So that's kicking a person while they're down. There is no justification for that. That's why they have the bad rap that they have now, because there is no justification for that. There isn't.
Yeah, okay. So the reason why I went down the route that I did is because I'm glad that you guys see how complex one can make a simple sentence, right? The neighbor. See how I made it so complex. Oh yeah, but the neighbor is like maybe your family or da da da. Like your neighbor isn't just some random person who lives next door to you. You don't know this person, da da da. Right? And yes, I guess all other religions, right, saw them as immoral. Because I think yes, you're right. Most other religions don't really like they condemn charging interest and taking advantage, which is funny because like it's 2024, and if you want to buy a house, I think the only religion now, like if you really wanted to buy a house, convert to Islam and get a house under them because like they won't charge you interest. Like they might, anyways. The
Hmm?
only yeah no no yeah like the only
What the
What?
fuck?
I'm gonna let you
yeah
land. No, I'm sorry.
so
I'm gonna let you land. My bad. Go
so
ahead.
so so
No, but you got to speed the plane up a little bit, though. You're running the room out.
all right, so the only religion now. So, for example, if you wanted to buy a house, if you're Muslim and stuff like that, like basically they will own. Let's say they will own half the house, right? And as you pay, it's the same kind of thing, but like there's no interest. Like there's no interest whatsoever, right? So I can't like Islam is the only.
Yeah, honey, we gotta get on the topic,
That's a
babe.
lie. That's a
Yeah,
lie. It's
we'll come back
impossible.
to you,
It's
Oksana. Get your thoughts
impossible
I
to
together.
get
have a
what
Take a few
bank.
everyone's
notes.
saying.
But it's even
Um,
impossible to have a bank without interest. That's a
No,
complete
No,
we're
lie
not
in
we're not
itself.
talking about
Like,
that
no,
now.
we're
We're
not
not.
getting into that. But go ahead,
yeah.
Sandra.
No, I was just trying to like wrap it up because I'm trying to get back to
Yeah,
the
she ran the
gusto.
room away. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And no disrespect,
Um,
and thank you for sharing your thoughts. Definitely appreciate it. Go ahead, Indica.
I just wanted to say, David, I kind of agree with the what you were saying. I just like what you were saying was kind of like we understand history and the results of it, but like where does this information get us? Like even
Right.
if we like continue
The
to
purpose of
and
me
argue,
saying
it
right.
doesn't
The purpose
get
of
us
me saying
anywhere.
this is to put it into perspective, right? Because, like, for instance, Professor Oksana was talking about European slave trade, right? And like that's just a red herring, right? Because if you actually look at like where these slaves came from, you actually see, like, if you actually study the history of slavery, like not just like the modern, like post, like after year 1000, but like year 500, right? Year 700, who set up the outposts in in East Africa, right? And you actually you dig through it like way more than just what Wikipedia shows you. Um, you'll see there's a lot more. And the reason why I talk about we need to have perspective and recognize things is like when you talk about like, well, this is the enemy, right? This is the enemy. Dude, guys, like every single the amount of slaughter that occurred like during the Chinese Cultural Revolution was off the scale. What happened in like Cambodia in 1960 was insane. And if you just saw what happened, just watch the killing fields, right? And so like I- you know, yeah, the world's gone insane. It has been insane. It never has not been insane. And that's my point. Because if you keep thinking, oh, it's these Jews, like, have you not seen the rest of the world? Are you not paying it any attention? The whole world's completely fucked up.
I think that like so David, so hear what you're saying. Yes, I agree with that, and I think who was it? Some guy said, "Oh, this happened in the civilized world." I think that was like he apologized. Oh, this was I think you guys like that Yuval guy. Anyways, I think if we talk about recent history, right, and it's obviously I know that obviously they had like a World War I, World War II. You had place in China and stuff like that, where like there was all these different things. But like I think like in more recent history, like in the past
Do
500
you
years.
know? 3 months ago in Nigeria, my prayer group is out of Nigeria, and
Mhm.
do you know that in Nigeria, just like 3 to 4 months ago, there was a pregnant woman on the street, and they used a sword, and she was in northern Nigeria, right? And they used a sword
I
to
mean,
cut the
I'm
baby
not
out of
Nigerian.
the womb.
I don't know anything about Nigeria, so I don't know about Nigeria. I'm
No,
not
no, let him
I'm
finish. Why are
Nigerian.
you interrupting him? He let you speak. What you saying, David?
No, my point is that it's very recent, right? Like this fucked up stuff is all
They
recent
did what with a
across
sword?
the world.
Yeah,
You
so
they
if I
did
could,
what with a sword?
right? So the point I was trying to
They
make,
cut the baby out with the sword.
yes, I agree. The photo stuff is all recent, right? However, my point is, as a black woman, is that I do feel that like there is more fucked up stuff obviously happening on the continent of Africa. There's more fucked up stuff happening to black people in the modern day in 2024. That it's all being overshadowed by this other stuff, and it's like, hey, wait, hold on, like we didn't even get to address slavery, right? Before slavery got addressed, next thing you know, there's all these other conflicts going on, World War I, World War II, and it's like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, no, hold on, hold on, yeah, because but again, slavery was abolished, cool, right? And then next thing, World War I, World War II, cool, right? But the problem is that, like, okay, cool, no one actually ever got to address slavery and the atrocities that were done against Black people, Black Americans, Black Caribbeans, and Black Africans, right? And now it's like, okay, cool, because there's all these other things going on, we now need to focus on this. And I get it, yeah.
No, we're not
But it's
switching to any
well,
focus. Look, we're not switching any focus. I'm merely pointing out the fact that no one even knows, no one in this, maybe even this room, that there are two nuclear superpowers who are diametrically as opposed to each other. And it's not United States and China. It's India and Pakistan. They are both nuclear superpowers,
And a lot
and
of people don't even
they
know that China is actually they're small colonizing Africa, right? I don't even know that, right? Especially a lot of Americans, right? They don't really know like Black Americans. They don't really know that like slow, the Chinese
They're
are
pretty much
slowly
taking
colonizing.
over.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, slow. Like again, like what are we doing here? Like again, a lot of the time, a lot of these atrocities that happening are against people of color, right? I guess you're Chinese, so I guess you're a person of color technically, right? But again, a lot of these atrocities that happen are against people of melanated skin.
do you know people of color is actually a term of oppression? Like the word, when you use it that way, it
Right?
is actually no.
I'm
I'm serious. I'm
using
serious.
it to describe, okay, darling. I understand what you're trying to say, like.
All Eastern European countries. What the fuck are we talking about?
What?
Do
Because
your
of
research.
war.
Okay,
Because of
but is that
war.
our business though, as
Yeah, but
black
it
people?
doesn't
They're
matter.
at
The
war.
highest
Of
death
course,
rates
they're
are,
at war.
but there,
But
but it's only
that's
in
a
one.
lie,
That's
though.
one.
That's a
That's
lie.
one country. That's one
That's a
country.
lie. That's a lie, though, isn't it? Though.
The top 10 countries are of Eastern European that has the highest death rates. War is only going on in one country over there. So what are we talking about here, man?
Okay,
Okay,
so
but
one, yeah.
like,
So
what are we as black people? We have our own problems. Do you think those Eastern European countries are checking for us when we're in trouble?
What I'm
Yeah,
saying
plus
is
even
this: we're over dramatizing something that might not be true. If you look at the death rates on a global level, as of 2024, the top 10 countries with the highest per capita death rate are all Eastern European countries. We could be worried about the rest of the world, or we could be worried about the country that we're in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, worrying about there are atrocities going on all over the world. But right now, the top 10 countries are
what?
Eastern European countries. Those are Caucasians that are dying.
Yes,
So, I mean, what the
wait.
fuck?
This is ridiculous because number one, yes,
That's the
number
FBI.
one,
That's what the
no,
CIA is saying.
wait, no, yes, listen, right? But again, it's not because of atrocities. It's not because of like, oh, genocide and war crimes and what's going on in other countries, right? This is just because they be murdering each other, right? Now, that
So those
that's
aren't atrocities?
whoa, darling.
I think
You
that
had a
also has something to
darling,
do
darling,
with
darling.
their population too, though,
You
because they have a
you
very
had a
high
school
population up
shooting
there.
literally the other day in America, darling. Right? So wait. Wait. Can you imagine the fact that America is the top in school shootings, and actually, right, that again, it's not like genocide or anything like school shootings, and actually, there's places in Europe, yeah, where they're murdering people and killing people more than that, right? So again, it's not a case where like, okay, yeah, do you know what? There's all these genocides going on in the world, and in Eastern Europe, it's not though. Like again, these places are just
Yeah.
fucked up, right?
And, yeah, for sure. And I appreciate everything you're bringing. We definitely want to make sure we get the mic around and get some new speakers to speak. Also, if you're in the room, we appreciate you being here. We do ask though, if you don't mind, because we definitely want to get the conversation moving. If you see it down at the bottom, there's a up arrow, and all we ask is if you just can ping some people in the room. Doesn't cost a thing. Get some people in here that you feel can join the conversation or pick their interest. So if you hit that button there, and people that you follow will be there, you just hit their picture and just send them a little notification, and they'll be able to see the topic and see if it's something they want to discuss or talk about. So if you all can just share the room out to your social medias and things like that, so that people can definitely, they might want to bring something to the conversation. And thank you,
Yeah.
Trigger, welcome to the stage, and Epic, welcome to the stage. Go ahead, Trigger. Mic is yours. Thank you,
Oh
guys.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know how far deep y'all are into it, but I saw the subject. The Holocaust did exist, so stop being anti-Semitic. Um, yes, it did, and it is anti-Semitic. Anti-Semitic. Why? Doesn't matter why. You're allowed to make what your culture comes together to make. When Black Lives Matter happened, what did the Asians do? They started Stop Asian Hate. The problem I have with our community, specifically Black Americans, is the fact that we don't do what the rest of the world is doing. They don't reinvent the wheel. They see a wheel and then they make a car out of it. They worry about the transmission and other things. They don't reinvent the wheel. They see something work. When Black Lives Matter happened, we saw protests all around the world. The people who protested all around the world did not try to reinvent the wheel and say, "Hey, the Black Americans did BLM, so we're going to spend the next 5 to 20 years figuring out our version." No, they just started. They started the same thing because they saw how impactful it was, right? And the thing about America is, people. A lot of people don't know this. I might have talked to Uncle about this before, but it is literally against the Constitution of America to make a race-based law. Now, you can make a class-based law, but you are not allowed to make a race-based. Even there are articles in the Stop Asian Hate article that benefits everybody. But they trick you out of not reading the fucking article by calling it Asian specific when the Constitution does not allow any law to be made in race specific. Kamala Harris put out a video. I think I got it on my IG. Where she said any law that helps black people will help all Americans. And people got mad. No, no, what do you mean? Every law that helps black people will help everybody. No, we need our own. That's against the fucking Constitution, and she would not be running for president if she took your rhetoric, right? So she has to say that because it's true. That doesn't. I'm not saying judge her how you want to, judge anybody how you want to. I'm not in control of your mind. But there's no such thing as a race-based law in America. There's a class-based law. So if you go study this Stop Asian Hate bill when it came out, you could have got a business as a black person through the initial Stop Asian Hate program. Because yes, it had Asian in it, but it was not specifically toward Asians. It was specifically toward a demographic of people who was in a class of Asians, which is not the majority high. So if you were a middle income or like semi low, not super low, but semi low income, you could have took advantage of those laws. So I've been in here for maybe 10 minutes. I don't know what people are talking about with this, and I'm just laying here because I don't want to be too long winded. With this, oh, there was a school shooting last week, bro. In London, y'all got a stabbing problem.
Oh
If
my
y'all had a gun,
God.
that shit might make more sense.
Wait,
Y'all,
I'm
bro,
sorry.
look, look, hold
What are
on,
you
sis.
talking about? Stopping
It's
problem. Explain that one.
Yeah, in England, there is a major problem with stabbings because guns are not allowed.
where?
That's false.
Yeah, thank
Okay, so what? So okay, so the last, let's say, because we're talking internationally, right? So you probably are from England. So you heard about the school shooting because that was the international story, right? We hear about Shaw international stories,
Okay.
which are stabbings.
Do
Yo,
you?
Trigger, hold on, Trigger. Do you
Are you going to answer my
realize
question before you ask me a
this?
question?
I'm
Wait,
not gonna
what
ask you.
was
I'm
your
gonna tell you facts.
Oh, no.
See,
Hold on.
that's what I'm saying. If you can't
Ask your
answer my
question.
question, then we're not
What
having
was
a
your question?
conversation.
What was your question? Go on, answer
My
it.
question was about international news. There are things around the world that they hear from America that America has big enough to push to international. There are things about
So
international
did you
countries.
hear about carnival?
Okay, so sis, I'm gonna ask you. I'm trying to get you the question. I'll be very quick, and I'm gonna mute up.
Trigger, you already asked your
Okay,
question. I'm gonna answer it to
okay,
you.
okay.
You're talking about the news. What I'm gonna answer you is this: is that per capita, there's still more stabbings in America than England by far because we don't
I
have.
didn't say that though,
Hold
How?
dog.
on,
That's what
hold
I'm
on,
saying.
hold on.
How you
So
gonna
when
tell me
you
to hold
call,
on when you
because
interrupted
I'm
me
a
with a
mod,
point I
because
didn't
I'm
make
a
though?
mod, and I'm telling you to hold on for a second because I want to have a logical conversation back and forth. I spoke for three, literally words. So give me 10 words. Relax.
Okay.
So
Well,
now
my bad, mod. The other mod, Sandra, told
I
me to
don't care
finish,
about it's.
but
It's not
my
about
bad.
mod. It's not about mod. It's
My
about just
bad,
having a
Sandra.
me
I'm
and
gonna
you are
let
having a
Buddha go.
conversation. Me and you are having a conversation, right? So one on one. So when you bring out the facts, yes, England doesn't allow
Why are
guns the
you
way that
breathing to the
America
mic,
does.
man?
Hey, Mister, what's up? Anyways, so now when you have these stats, you're right. There's a lot more stabbings because there's no guns, but America still has way more stabbings individually than England. So I don't understand your point.
Okay, this is my point. Do you know where you said the word per capita? Do you know what that actually means?
Per 100,000.
No. Hold on. No. Per capita is based off the population of the country.
No,
So if you
per
put America,
capita
hold on.
is
Look,
per
I know, I know
100,000.
you're no. Look, sis, hold on. I'm talking to Google, right? He wanted a one-on-one. Per capita is per thousand based on the ratio of people in that country. So if you look at the amount of people who live in the U.S. versus the amount of people who live in London per capita, your words, the stabbing is at a higher percentage. So that's how
In
per
America,
capita actually works. It doesn't,
in
the way you're
America.
describing it, it doesn't work like that, brother. I'm just being
Okay,
honest with
so
you.
wait.
What's your
Okay,
point though?
so wait. Trigger,
I didn't
trigger,
get to my point because he told me
trigger,
he's a mod and he's allowed to interrupt me. So
trigger,
I never got to my
trigger.
point.
Well, hold
So
on,
we're talking
Professor
about this,
Asana,
right?
and no offense, so I want to come back to you in just a second because I want to make sure we get some new speakers going, hon. So we'll just come back to you. We're gonna move the mic around, then we'll come back around. You okay if that? All right. So Trigger, did you land there, boo, or are you?
No. I don't want to get kicked out by Google. So I
Well,
stopped
we
my
are going.
point at
Well,
it
no,
time.
I ain't gonna kick you. Come
What's
on,
up, Google? Do you want to
why
respond?
why are you being overly sensitive? Have I said anything in order to kick you out? All I said is have a one-on-one back and forth. All of a sudden, you're like over fixating about getting like kicked out. Like, are you really that hurt or
Bro,
insecure?
okay.
What's going on
Bro,
here?
bro, stop it with
Man,
these
what it
rhetoric and
is
these talking
hold
points.
on.
Hold on,
Before
real
y'all
quick.
before y'all keep going, trigger you, your mic's on you. Google, what he's saying is, before you got in the room, he didn't even finish making his point before you interrupted, which I can confirm because you came in the room in the middle of him speaking, so you don't know the original point that he was trying to make. So if he can just finish his point, then y'all can have the dialogue. But right now, he hasn't finished it.
You know what? I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and mute up because I'm not emotional or triggered or none of this other shit. He's just fucking impatient with a green bean. So go ahead, Indica or Professor, whoever wanted to go. Thank you, Unc, for being honest about it.
I think Indica wanted to go. She was coming off the mic.
I just wanted
Okay.
to know, like, in comparison to like shootings in the U.S. and stabbings in like London, like what's the point? Like, what are you trying to say? Like, I don't really understand that.
I
Why
was
does it
given a
matter?
violence statistic, and I'm sorry, did I interrupt you, sis? I don't mean to.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. I was given a violence statistic by per capita, which it means, right? So if you have 1,000 citizens and I have 50,000, per capita is mathematically formed differently. So to the point that Professor and was talking about when I came into the audience was about, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it is. It's not about guns, it's about violence. That's what the statistic is built around. So I was just making a clear point.
Okay, and,
You know what I mean?
and to go ahead and dead this issue, and I'm gonna cite the source too. I just simply looked up murder rate compared to United States, United Kingdom per 100,000. And the United Kingdom has a higher murder rate per capita than the United States does.
Thank you. Because that's obvious
It's
if you
sitting
look
at
at it.
9.7 homicides per million for people in England, Wales, and basically the UK, right? It's sitting at 7.5 per 100,000 for people in the United States. That's simple. So
Thank you.
yes, it is more dangerous in the UK than it is the United States.
But
I
it's not,
think that the
is it?
United States is just more televised and the media
That's
focuses on the
why.
US.
I thank you for using your mob bash the right way, Uncle. I appreciate it.
Can I make a point about
Okay,
this?
okay.
Oh, go ahead.
Go
Sorry.
on. No,
Oh
go on.
shit, violence.
I'll get on deck. The woman was speaking. I'll go after the woman.
No. It's okay. I've spoken. Go ahead, darling.
Okay. I just wanted to make the point. It's funny. I saw the room title and that drew me in. And it's actually what you're
Oh, it's
talking
a
about
dude.
is
What kind of shit? All right. Go ahead,
it's,
Zion.
it's okay. That's
Hey,
actually
what
the
you wanted to let these
No, I
topic
didn't
of
know the title. I
guns.
didn't know the title had changed. But go ahead.
It's okay. The topic of guns is actually very connected to the room title. I just want to make a quick point. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. I'll drop all the links in the chat from all the misleaders of Israel and America, as well as the laws that have been written. If you're against Israel, you're against the Jews because we live in Israel. Okay. Secondary to that, weapon confiscation. The only way that we could take Palestine was by taking their weapons. You could go back and watch the documentaries, look at the history. Okay, we needed weapons confiscations of the Palestinians, and now we're enjoying that land. We own and rule that land. I mean, yeah, there's a war there, but as long as America has our back, we'll crush the Palestinian resistance. Now, as far as America, every aspect of American society except for the day-to-day street life structure. Now, this is why we need to weapons confiscate from you, Goy, in America, is so that we can get that final piece on the chessboard, which is your day-to-day existence. You're still free to a certain extent in that we're not militarily occupying you people. And this is why I want to say that if you're pro Second Amendment as an American, if you believe that you as an American have the right to bear arms and own guns, you're actually anti-Semitic because you're resisting Jewish power over you. So, anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, and thinking that you have the right to bear arms and defend yourself against a military or a government